what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Sully Squad. It's been a couple weeks, but we are back. We got a lot going on. We got a NFL training camp starting this week. We got the Phillies came off the All-Star break. Had a tough weekend in Pittsburgh, but at least they salvaged one yesterday. So we'll get in a little bit of that. And we've had a huge Sixers off season. I mean, in my opinion, Daryl Morey's been absolutely cooking. So we're going to get in. We're going to start off with that. I got my usual cast, and we have a special guest, Austin Krell from 97.3 ESPN. So, guys, how you guys doing?
Chilling, man.
Good, man. Good. Thanks for coming on, Austin. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
Yeah. So looking at this Sixers team, obviously we all knew that this was a huge offseason. And, it's probably the first time. I mean, let's keep it real. This is the first time Daryl Morey's really been able to make moves. What's your opinion on what he's done? How do you think this offseason has played out so far?
So I think it's always been framed like Daryl doesn't do anything, and since he's been here. And I think you framed it the right way. It's that he's kind of been restrained by what he's able to do. Like, you have bad money on the books. You have to undo some messes that you inherited from previous management teams. So this is the first time that he had the full reign to do to mold the team to his vision. And, the first day he brings in a backup center who, per 36, averaged 19 rebounds last season.
Yeah.
Brings in a veteran shooter on a minimum deal. Good get. Brings back Kelly Oubre on the cap room mid-level exception. Real good value there. And then he reels in his big fish. Gets gets Paul George.
That was the last big fish.
Yeah, that was the last one.
As we threw that fish back.
Yeah, exactly. 3:30 in the morning on July 1, he pulls in Paul George. So, and then he adds Caleb Martin a week later. Caleb Martin turned down 60 plus million. Stay with Miami. Ends up signing a $30-something million deal for 4 years with the Sixers. They keep Kyle Lowry. They give Tyrese Maxey his due max contract. I think it's been a home run offseason. I think they deservedly have been one of the most talked about teams. Other teams have done some things themselves, namely the Knicks. They've gotten better, of course, and there are some teams out west that have made some interesting moves. A lot of talk about the second apron and how the CBA changes storylines for teams, but there's no better team. There's no team in the NBA that is better executed in the light of this new CBA, and the new second apron than the Sixers. And I think Daryl Morey should be proud of himself. I think people should be very happy with what he's done.
Yeah, and to touch on the second apron thing too. I mean, they still have a few moves to them. There's still Marcus Morris could possibly come back, but there's other guys out there. Could you see them, or I guess I'll say, because of the second apron, do you see maybe as the offseason keeps going, maybe Daryl Morey could outweight some of these guys and get another decent vet on a vet minimum deal?
So all they have left to their disposal, just in terms of pure signing power, is veteran minimum contracts.
Right.
That's all they have left. There's no cap space. There's no mid-level. All they have purely at this point is those minimum deals. So I think you'll see them maybe wait out a little while and see what guys' markets become. Some guys will need to resign themselves to the fact that they're veteran minimum players. Some of them will need to think about, okay, if I'm a veteran minimum player, what's the best spot for me to increase my chances of earning in the future, my next contract, whether that be next year or whatever. So I think there could be something where it happens quicker rather than later for a player who is realistic about his future. It could be someone who needs to reconcile mentally for a little while. This is what this is the stage I'm at. But I mean, only thing they have, Marcus Morris wants to come here. That's great. They need forward depth. You can sell him on, like, if you want to get paid again and give yourself another payday in this league. We do need forwards. You could sell him on that. But right now, only thing you have left to offer anybody are those minimums, and they have 2 roster spots left to fill. That's at minimum. They have to fill 2 spots. They can carry up to 15. They can't carry fewer than 14, really, for most of the season. So they have to fill 2. And you look at their depth chart. Like right now, your point guards are Tyrese Maxey, Kyle Lowry. Your starting shooting guard in theory is Kelly Oubre, although I do not consider him a shooting guard.
Yeah.
You need to fill up some depth at your forward positions. I think the only positions you're definitely good at are, point guard and center. I think the Sixers would tell you, like, we don't really believe in traditional positions. Like, we have 3 or 4 guys that can handle the ball and pass the ball and shoot the ball and whatever at any given time. I think that's fair to say in the modern NBA, but you still need they have solid wings. Their starting wings are very good. They still need to get a little bit more size and a little bit more shooting to me.
How do you see guys like Jared McCain and like Ricky Council playing into the mix?
So I look at Ricky Council as the class of player that there are very few of, and that, like, you're not afraid of him as a shooter, but he recognizes that, and so what he does is he uses his mind and his physicality and his speed and athleticism to really create things around the court elsewhere. He's kind of like a mini Draymond Green. He plays that style of game. Like, if you're not going to respect me as a shooter, I'm either going to take it and make you respect me, or I'm going to put it on the deck, attack hard, and make you rotate to come and get me. And then, he knows how to pass he knows how to pass off the move. He can finish at the rim. I think Ricky has a chance to be in the rotation this year, outside chance, but a chance nonetheless. Jared McCain, I think when you invest a first-round pick in any guy, you have some equity in letting him have a chance. But I would say, given what I saw in Summer League, I think there's a lot of ground that he has to cover to prove that he's ready. His last game yesterday against Boston was the best I think he's looked. But, his shot is long and short. He did not shoot the ball particularly well. I did like that he shot the ball in a variety of contexts and saw makes in a variety of contexts. It wasn't just off the move. It wasn't just difficult off the dribble stuff. It wasn't just catch and shoot. So he did, he kind of mixed in and showed some versatility in how he can shoot it. But I still think at that size, it's going to be hard to put him on the floor next to a guy like Tyrese Maxey. And if you're asking him to play NBA minutes, you're going to want to put him in a backcourt with a bigger wing. And does that mean that Jared McCain is then taking on more ball handling duties? And I think there are some complications that come with that. So there will be moments. He has a skill in shooting that I think will get him on the floor at times, but I would be surprised that there was a solidified role for him throughout the season. He's not like Landry Shamet.
Gotcha. How about all the other kids that took part in the Summer League? Anyone jump off the screen to you that might help, could make the team?
I've never written so many words about a player who did so little in the box score as I did for Dembona. Everything I could not be like, just very raw, not a ton of skill there yet, not like super deep in terms of what he can do, but like a guy who understands weak side rotations to the rim, really puts his verticality on display and like blows up plays. Like yesterday, he blew up a lob at the rim. He blew up a lob that didn't even get to the rim. He blew it up literally before it got to the height. And so he knows how to stretch and use his body. He catches high, comes down hard, and knows how to pivot, shake guys off, and dunk. Good hands on the move, like all the things that you would want out of a limited role player at this stage of their career A lot of solid stuff there. He runs the floor endlessly. Can't tell you how many times I saw him beat guys through rebounds or blocks and then sprint his ass down the floor and get a dunk out of it. Like, just very fundamentally, I guess, the fundamentals are there. Still, like, a lot of work to do. That jump shot looks pretty at times, but he's going to miss heavy a lot because of his hand placement and his feet alignment. I would like to see him sort of test his range a little bit and see if maybe there is a little bit of, like, could he play next to Joel at times? Could he play next to an Andre Drummond at times, just to enhance your rebounding and your rim defense? But for a guy who didn't fill up the box score much, I was more impressed with Adem Bana than I was with Jared McCain by a good margin.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, to touch on that, I mean, like I said, my big concern about McCain not only is the size, but he doesn't seem like I wonder about the athleticism. You know what I mean? His athleticism doesn't jump off the page. And like you said, I mean, Adem Bona, I mean, you just watch him play, and I can't remember the last time. It feels like the Sixers. That's one weakness this team has had. It seems like they've really needed like an athlete. They haven't been the most athletic team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the conundrum is, like, you have your starting center, right? And you just saw, and like, you're trying to win now with that guy because of his age, also because of his injury history. You just don't know how much time he has at this level. And then you go and you get a backup center who can immediately support him. And if you were, like, let's say you were to draft a more traditionally sized backup big man, which was not Paul Reed, which is not Adem Bana. that player is thinking, like, okay, I am going to probably have an opportunity 2, 3, 4 years down the line to be a starting center in this league, and you don't want to misvalue that player, because if you misvalue that and trade him, you probably don't get enough bang for your buck. So you're looking for a player who is limited enough in what he can reasonably do that he is clearly a backup, but also does some of the things that you need despite his size. And I think, like you are right to point out, like, that there is an interesting sort of juxtaposition of Jared McCain with Adem Bana, and granted, Bana has made it this far on energy, on athleticism. Jared McCain is, when you put him next to Tyrese Maxey, it's like you're watching two different sports, But I think Jared also makes up for it with some of his ability to read defenses on the fly and change speeds, change hands. He finished on the right side of the backboard with his left hand on a scoop layup yesterday, which is not something you'd advise fundamentally, but it shows that he has skill with both hands. They ran a couple plays for him to get to his left hand, so I think he is confident. He is reasonably confident there. He's going to have to find ways to get creative. Like, he's not going to beat anybody with athleticism. The shot is a little bit like, I don't want to say it's shot put like, but it isn't like a super high release point, super quick to get off. There is some, like, broken down motion there that needs to be worked on in order for him to shoot over bigger defenders at this next level, because he's going to see a lot of bigger defenders at this next level. But I mean, these guys, I don't think, are ready to play meaningful minutes this year anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if they are, being that the Sixers are trying to compete, if they are, then that means we have some issues. You know what I mean? So let's just hope that this is a year for those guys to develop on the behind the scenes, and you play the guys like you hope that an Eric Gordon has like one more last hurrah in them, and guys like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you hope that Eric Gordon can, like, show Jared, like, this is how the ball needs to feel coming out of your hand. This is the type of muscle memory you need to have to shoot from deep at this stage with hands flying at you. you're going to be somebody who is used against zones on the wings, and you're going to be asked to take shots that are 3 or 4 steps beyond the arc just to break zones. So I think Eric Gordon serves as a nice like blueprint for what the early portions of Jared McCain's career can look like. I also think it helps that Igbona is exciting and Jared McCain is likable. If you're someone who is okay, if you're someone who can get past the nail painting and the TikTok, Jared McCain is a likable guy, and Bona is just energy and he understands that he's just going to give it 100%, and people like that here. So I think if they are in Delaware for a majority of the season or a portion of the season, at least there are likable people down there and guys that you can sort of identify and say, hey, I know that face or that name. What's he up to down in Delaware?
Yeah.
So how excited are you for Caleb Martin finally getting like a Boston killer on this team and not staying with all that money he was offered?
Yeah, so I think it's interesting that Woj, whenever he breaks the story, credits the agent. And that time he did not credit the agent. And in the industry, what you're taught is that means the agent screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And so clearly there was maybe I don't know this for a fact, but I would say that means that there was a misunderstanding of what his market was. But I mean, I think Caleb Martin is going to be everything that Philly fans love, like the toughness, the ruggedness. He has low center of gravity, knows how to stay down in a stance. He's going to dig into the floor and get stops and really help you get out in transition and make those plays. Of course, with the Sixers, he'll probably shoot about 24% from 3. That's what happens when you come to the Sixers.
I know.
I do think it's interesting that Kelly Oubre had a for him. Not that bad of a year, but in average NBA terms, kind of a bad year shooting the ball from 3. Caleb Martin is not a great shooter. I do think this is an interesting case study to see how much how much you benefit from playing next to Tyrese and Joel.
Yeah.
Because there's more of a fine art to passing than there is to spacing. Tyrese is learning how to play point guard on the fly a little bit. He's gotten better and better, but he's still learning. Joel has gotten better at recognizing cutters and making flashy passes, but passing is more than just seeing man making pass. It's getting zip on the ball, getting spin on the ball. The seams are lining up with the hands, and in the shooting pocket, the shooter isn't having to catch up by his head or down by his ankles and then get to a shooting pocket. So those are all things that I think we're going to see okay, how much of these guys how much of their shooting variance, good or bad, is going to be because Joel and Tyrese are throwing passes all over the place and they're having to adjust to that.
That's such a great point because I remember growing up watching basketball, you watch, obviously these two were two of the greatest, but you watch a Magic or a Larry Bird, or you watch, even a Stockton. They would put the ball exactly in the right spot and there'd be no wasted motion. And like you said, if you get a ball up here and it in the NBA, a split second changes the whole shot. It can ruin a shot.
Yeah, not only can it throw off your mechanics and your feel for the shot, but it can also give defenses time to recover back to you. And that's the whole point of leverage when you're a star is creating leverage for your teammates. That's one of the biggest things that I think when I'm evaluating what their shooting looks like in season, how much of it has to do with the passing and the accuracy of passing. I think Kyle Lowry will sort of help in that regard. Yeah. But if Kyle Lowry is your best passer at 18 minutes a night, ideally, I think you have some shortcomings.
Yeah, well, I got one last one up on the Sixers here as far as speaking of evaluating. After this all, where obviously the off season's not over, but where do you think you'd stack the Sixers right now? In the East and also in the NBA.
So all the betting things that I follow that I've seen, I think they're it's splitting hairs between them and the Knicks betting wise. Mm-hmm. Right now, I am inclined to say the Sixers are a little bit better than the Knicks because I think Isaiah Hartenstein is a massive, massive loss for them.
Yeah.
That's a big
when they lost that playoff series or when the Sixers lost the playoff series to the Knicks, and I know they lost in 6. I know it was ugly, but it was like you could not have gotten a closer series. The series was decided by one single point.
Yeah.
You look at all the offensive rebounding opportunities, and the Knicks got all those chances, and it's like the Sixers couldn't capitalize. Well, that also means that the Knicks' primary offense wasn't very good. A lot of it was Jalen Brunson having to do most of the work himself. And I know they got Mikal Bridges. I think he's a fine creator for himself, but he's not somebody who is like a firm number 2 creator on an offense. And so I think there will be a lot of times when the Knicks are searching for okay, what do we do after the first shot goes up and Jalen has an off night? And how do we make up for the rebounding that Isaiah Hartenstein brought to us? And maybe that is everyone crashes hard and Mikal Bridges is a more dedicated rebounder. Josh Hart is fighting tooth and nail for every rebound. Maybe that works. But I also feel like, you look at and don't get me wrong, the Knicks have upgraded their sex appeal as a basketball defense. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I just think the offensive repertoires of those players can be mitigated by what you have in your own defense. And I think part of the problem with the Sixers offense or defensive rebounding last season was that their defense on the perimeter was so bad at times that they had to bring Joel or Paul Reed out of position, and that in turn made them took the biggest player on the Sixers away from the rim. So if you solidify your perimeter defense, in theory, you should be able to have your biggest players in better position to get rebounds. And so right now, I would say the Sixers better than the Knicks by a hair. I think Boston, history says, would probably take a look at their roster and say, we just won a championship, went on a deep playoff run. We will risk manage a little bit here and maybe take some more games off. And we don't really care if we're the 2 or 3 seed. We're confident that we can beat anybody.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if the Sixers were a 1 seed. It wouldn't surprise me if they were a 2 seed. It wouldn't surprise me if they were the 3 seed. I do think this is probably the year that they end up getting to the conference finals. Because I just think they're an awesome team that's built to play modern basketball, and they could very well keep some versatility, keep some space open financially. They're not close to the second apron yet. They can still make trades in season and say we need this upgrade here to add a piece. They have all their draft picks left. They could still make a significant trade in season to bolster themselves, and then suddenly we're looking at them differently.
Yeah, especially with the KJ Morton contract. I mean, that's. Do you know exactly? I know they signed him for 8, but isn't there some sort of a thing where they could take back 11 to 12 million or something for him? I think I was reading.
So that was all dependent upon how close that contract brought them to the first apron.
Okay.
The first apron, if you exceed the first apron or you're capped at the first apron, you cannot take back. You can't match more than 100% in salary in trades, which is to say you have to trade dollar for dollar. And so, but there is a provision technically in the CBA where if your salary is between 7 something and 29 something, you can take back 7.5 more than you sent out. Very weird range, but technically Paul Reed could have fit into that. They decided to sign Caleb Martin and cut Paul Reed. KJ Martin could, in theory, be there, but they're only within $1 million of the apron anyway.
Okay.
And then they have to fill roster spots to begin with. So I would bet they're going to be a first apron team when the season starts anyway and take that advantage away. But maybe they shed salary in trades and move below it and cut somebody, or they cut somebody. And then suddenly they're right back in the picture of being able to take back a guy making 10, 11, 12. But I don't see a viable way for them to be able to take back a full $15 million by trading KJ Martin.
Gotcha. You know, because the guy I was thinking of in particular is a guy like a Finney Smith from the Nets. You know, somebody like that.
And they were interested. That there was real talk that they were interested in Dorian Finney-Smith, and he would have been like the perfect salary matching for Paul Reed. I just think ultimately, in the summertime, with free agency coinciding with trades, especially in the context of this new CBA where everyone's terrified of the constraints that the new aprons put on. Everything is like, well, I can't just do a 2-team deal. It has to be a sign and trade involving 6 teams. It gets complicated.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, listen, Austin, you know, I really appreciate you, really appreciate you hopping on with us. You know, thanks for taking the time. And, you know, where I know a lot of people already know, but where could everybody check you out?
You can find me on Twitter at NBA Krell, on Instagram there as well. I cover the Sixers for 97.3 ESPN.com. So all my written work is there. And I appreciate you guys for having me.
No problem.
That's all, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man, and go Sixers. Thanks, dude.
And go Phils.
Yeah, go Phils.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
All
right.
right, have a good one.
See you guys.
See ya. Yeah, it was fun. So, but yeah, that would Oh wait, hang on. I got a comment here. One more basketball, then we'll move on. Speaking of Phillies, we'll move on to some Phillies here. Paul Spencer says, "I thought Spencer Dinwiddie, but he's headed to the Mavs." That's interesting. Spencer's interesting. Spencer Dinwiddie heading to the Mavericks.
I think he already was over there.
He was there before, yeah.
Yeah.
He was. So, all right. Well, look. What do you guys want to do? Phillies, or you want to do some Eagles?
Whatever.
All right. I'll tell you what. Let's do some Phillies here. Phillies, you know, tough weekend in Pittsburgh, coming off the All-Star break. You know, Friday night in particular, that was a tough loss. I mean, what were they?
Yeah, they should have won that. Lost that in the 9th inning.
Yeah, what was it like? I think they were up at one point, like 7-3 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was a tough
Sanchez
loss.
threw a hell of a game.
Yeah, and then Saturday they couldn't hit. You had Sanchez pitched a good ball game, and then yesterday, nice bounce back win yesterday. The kid Tyler Phillips pitched a good ball game.
Yeah, Phillips pitched a good game.
The kid's on fire, man. I like that.
From South Jersey too.
15 strikeouts. I think maybe 5 earned runs or no walks. I mean, or 3 walks. The kid's got it, man. He zoned in, you know, like Diego said, kind of a local kid, grew up loving the Phillies. I mean, what more to ask for, you know? And he's got some good stuff, man. I like the way he pitches. He's always in the zone.
Yeah, so he's off to a good start. You know, and then you know, tough series. You know, this week you have a tough series. Actually, 2 tough series. They're at Minnesota. What is it? At Minnesota for 3,
yes.
and then Cleveland here.
Yes.
So you know, all of a sudden, you know, the Phillies. Phillies got off to that great start, and you know, and they still have the best record in baseball. And you know, I'm not going to say it has anything to do with schedule, because the Phillies have been beating a lot of the teams that are over 500. So,
right.
But that being said, they got some tough games coming up tonight. I missed who's pitching tonight. Is it Wheeler or Suarez tonight?
Yeah.
Sorry. So that's an interesting. So all right. So concern level. You know, I mean, I know. You know, I'm looking. Phillies are 63-36, 8.5 game lead over Atlanta. They also have like a 5 game lead in the loss column over the Dodgers for the #1 record. But concern. You know, any concerns with #1 Alvarado? And then #2, Rangers' last 2 or 3 starts. What's your concern level, Diego? I'll ask you first.
Nah, it's not high. I mean, I think Ranger will be fine, even after having a tough 3 starts. You got to expect a little bit of a slump. He was pitching out of this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think them guys will be fine. What happened? Did Alvarado get hurt?
No, Alvarado.
He's not having a great year.
Oh no, that's Ozzie Albies. Ozzie Albies is out 8
fresh
weeks
leg.
for the Braves. Frank fractured hand.
Braves are having a tough season.
Yeah, Braves are like a mash unit.
Yeah.
They got Whit Merrifield now. They signed.
Yeah,
Whit
just got him today.
Yeah. So, but how about Alvarado? I mean, Alvarado's had a really good year, but he's kind of been faltering some of his last few times out. Any big concerns with him?
No, I just need him to be locked in, come play all the time.
Okay.
We're 68 and 34.
63 and 36.
63 and 36. So, and that's with Alvarado not having a good year. He's got to get it together before the end of the season. I think we'll be okay. What do we do at the trade deadline now? Can we add an arm there?
Yeah, damn right. Yeah.
Well, here's our man, Mike Fuji. Mike Fuji says Bob Nightingale is reporting that the Phillies are interested in trading for an outfielder. And by the way, make sure you check out my man, Fuji. You'll have, or not. The Phillies are not interested. Yeah, well, I didn't read. I read something else that said that they would take an outfielder, but they're actually looking more in the bullpen. Like Tanner Scott of Miami is a possibility. So that could be
from Texas.
Yeah, but Fuji will have to tell me. I think he does a show on Wednesday nights, but I saw it pop up on my Facebook. Fuji's going to have the Godfather of football, Ray Dininger, on this Wednesday, so make sure you check him out.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I think the Phillies could use an outfielder, though. I mean, Brandon Marsh does not hit lefties. What's his face? The center fielder, Rojas. I mean, he hits okay, but I'm not. I would feel a lot more comfortable with the bat. What do you guys think of Lane Thomas of Washington?
Speed, stolen bases, yeah.
I like him. He's a good right-handed bat.
I don't want guys to kiss him. He's not a locker room guy. Pittsburgh wants him. Pittsburgh can trade for him. I don't want him on the team. Peter, don't want him. Tyler O'Neill, good, but always injured. Lewis Roberts, a lot of power, but not interested.
Yeah, I don't see the Phillies. I don't see the Phillies making a huge move for like a Roberts. And then I read the guy from the A's, Rooker or whatever, that was hitting the ball really good. Some of the baseball writers were saying that the Phillies don't really view him as a fit because he's more of a DH. He really can't play the field, and you already have Schwarber, yeah. So
right.
But Lane, I'm looking here. Lane Thomas isn't the greatest, but he hits lefties well. He's 28 years old. This year he's hitting 246, 8 homers, 39 RBIs. But again, a right-handed bat that you could rotate in there with Rojas and with Marsh and kind of have a three-headed monster. With this way, when you face a tough lefty, at least you got an option.
Right.
What do you think of? Do you think Weston Wilson's getting an audition right now? Because he was killing Lehigh Valley, and then they called him up. He had a really good game Friday night. I think he had like 2 hits. So I mean, this is like, as you always say, Sean, next man up. I mean, this is his time to shine.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think so. He's probably auditioning to either take some spot or to stay up in the starting lineup. So that remains to be seen. But back to your bullpen question, Doval from San Fran was a name. Mason Miller, everybody likes it, but are we willing to give the Aiden Miller, the other guys in the farm system? There's something. I'll send it to you guys. Would I do it for Mason Miller and Rooker? Probably not. Just for Mason Miller, yeah. But they want the house, but we're not going to do it. Something like that. But I see Dombrowski, who has a lot of ties with the Tigers, Marlins. He's going to work out something. So I'm pretty confident in whatever trade he does, just like Diego brought up an outfielder as well as you did. So I'm confident whoever we get, in my opinion.
Yeah, you definitely got to have confidence in Dombrowski. He always makes the right move. He seems to build the right teams. So definitely confidence in him.
Himself, you know what I mean? And without question.
Yeah, the Phillies also re-signed David Dahl to a minor league contract.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, Fuge. I mean, he had a couple of
Whatever.
games, but he's a 4A player. David Dahl, he's a 4A guy. He's Lehigh Valley, and if you're playing him a lot, you're getting exposed. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can't
Yeah.
have that. But yeah, I mean, it's hopefully, like I said, hopefully they're still a hell of a ball club. Hopefully they do well. And I'm not going to take too much out of this weekend in Pittsburgh because the Pittsburgh Pirates right now are like one of the stories of baseball. I mean, the Pirates are. I'll tell you. Listen, I'll tell you what. I would want no parts of that Pirates team in a 5-game series because the one thing the Pirates got. Dude, the Pirates got really good pitching. I mean, imagine you play them in 5 games and you're going against the phenom and Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
You're going against the kid Josh Jones, I think his name is, another good young pitcher. And then the guy I think it's Kleber.
Yeah,
I always fuck his name up.
Matt Keller.
Mike Keller, that's it. I know. Yeah,
but like you said,
what's that?
Scary team. O'Neal Cruz. Brian Reynolds, for Christ's sake, he played center fielder. They shifted him over to left because he's so fast. And you saw how big and wide left field was. He can cover so much ground, I mean, yeah. And Skeen, he's scary. He's filthy with his pitching.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let me look at the schedule. Let me look at this Phillies schedule this week. Get a prediction, and then let's get in a little Eagles before we get out of here. So let me see here. Phillies schedule. We got. I think it's
Twins 3.
Yeah, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't 3. So it's 3 with the Twins. Wow, this is real tough. 3 with the Twins, 3 with the Guardians, and then you got the Yanks here for 3, and then at Seattle. Philly's got a tough 12-game stretch.
8-4.
8-4.
In that 12-game stretch, Phillies go 8-4.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'd sign up for 8-4 right now. How about you, Sean?
Right with Diego, I'm rowing that boat. 8-4.
8-4. Okay, damn, dude. I hope you guys are right. You guys got.
Man, we totally forgot real quick before we jump on the Eagles. We got JT back, man. Guy who calls a great game, knows the pitchers know and love him, and he throws out guys, man. He's not even back one game, and he just guns out the dude at second. What more to ask for,
Yeah, so. You know what? All right, I'm gonna say 7-5, but either way, I mean, if you tell me we're gonna go 7-5 in those next 12 with who they're
I'll
playing,
take that too. Yeah, I'll take that.
I'll take that. Or the both numbers sound good. Just like you said, Joe, they got some good teams. You got Minnesota, Guardians. You can't take them out. They'll always be the Indians to me. And then Seattle, Yankees and Seattle. But that's
just win more than you lose.
What's that?
Yeah.
Just win more than you lose.
Exactly.
Simple as that. We'll take that. 7-5, that tough stretch. We'll take 6-6. We'll take that against that tough stretch.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this. If the Phillies go 7-5, right, then that puts them at 70-41. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Right. What else do you want through 100? What else do you want through 111 games?
Yeah. So
if you pitch it that, you got a problem.
Right.
Yeah. So, but hey, big, Phil, we obviously we're right in the heart of baseball season. But let's keep it real. I mean, the three of us are, we love all the sports, but football. I mean, we got Philadelphia Eagles football coming. I got a comment here. Mike Fuji says, who are you guys looking at Eagles training camp as far as battles at starting positions? I feel.
God, you go. God.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, God.
I think the obvious one I think would be right guard, and I saw on Twitter. Our man Brandon Deek had an interesting take, and I kind of agree with him that he has a bold prediction that Mikhail Becton's going to be the right guard. I kind of could see that.
He's huge,
but he's huge. But did Stoutland mold him into the player he should have been with the Jets. And I'm all for it, Joey. If he is, awesome. Because you got veteran leadership and you got size. I'm not going to keep on talking about it. Go on.
To me, it's all about how this corner position shakes out. Who's starting where? Who's the top 3-4 corners on the team? Does Gene maybe move to a safety position, play a little safety? Like, what are we looking at here? We're so deep at that position. We went from being so horrible to being like, who do we even start? Because I feel like we got four solid at least three solid outside corners, four really good corners.
For me, it's the defensive front. You know, to see edge, tackle, ends. You know.
See, the defensive front to me should be good. Jalen Carter's second year. Jordan Davis is in his third year. He should be at the top of his fitness. Huff, you just paid him. He should give you what you should get. Sweat, same thing. You brought Brandon Graham back, get you a couple snaps. I feel like we know what we should get out of the defensive line.
For me,
you know,
I'm talking backup guys. Who's going to be that lights out guy? A Jomo, Milton Williams. You know, I can go on and on. You know,
right?
But yeah. So, and then being up Joey's point. Remember this name, Keegan. Trevor Keegan is another guy. I think that's going to give a good battle for offense. So,
yeah, but this is to be expected because Sidney Brown got hurt at the very end of the year. But Mike Fuji says it also came out today. Sidney Brown is starting on the PUP list. Not surprised at that. I mean, he got hurt right at the very end of the year. You know what I mean? So
it makes sense.
And I'll tell you what,
talented guy. They don't want to lose him.
When I think of injuries, man, the first guy I think of is my man Jason Fine, aka Attorney Big Al. You know, obviously, if you're an NFL player, you don't have to call my guy. But if you're a regular dude and you get hurt on the job, make sure you give this guy a call. He'll get you paid. Motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workers' compensation, or personal injury claims. He's got three office locations throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. One in Philadelphia, one in Cherry Hill, and one in Pittsburgh. And you know, I a minute ago I had how about so we were talking about position battles. I mean, how about do you foresee any surprise cuts? I have one in particular. It wouldn't shock me. Maybe this shouldn't be a surprise because of how much he gets hurt. But based off of Diego, how you said that, like how much depth that they might have at the secondary position, I could see a guy like Avonte Maddox getting cut.
Yeah, I can see that.
Surprise. I
can see that because I don't think he's our best slot corner. I think Isaiah Rodgers might be better there.
Right. You know, so I could see that.
Better. He's just an extra damn body, man. He should never re-signed his ass. You know, Burnberry will be a surprise cut. See ya.
Why?
Can they just cut Bradbury?
Burnberry.
No, Bradbury's still on the team.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like if they cut him, they take like a cap hit.
They do, but I mean, I don't know. How can you justify? I mean, I think what it is with him is they're probably going to bring him to camp and see if he has any type of juice. And if he doesn't, they'll just cut him. Because if you think about it, like you said, Diego, like, you know, they are going to take a cap hit. So why cut him ahead of time? Why not at least bring him in the camp and see if he looks better than last year?
And not even that. Look how great he looked when CJ Gardner-Johnson was over the top before.
Right.
You know, maybe that wasn't all Bradbury. You know, like think about how bad our safety play was this year and how important safeties are to making great quarterbacks look great sometimes. Or good quarterbacks look good sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were horrible back there. Sidney Brown was horrible. What's his name? The other guy? I have drawn a blank here. Blankenship. Yeah, same thing. Blankenship was trash last year. Like they everything over the top. They weren't helping our corners out at all.
Yeah, well, you know what it is with Blankenship. Blankenship looked really good in a limited role in 2022.
Right.
You know, but there's a big difference between being a fill-in and going in and shining and being the guy. When you're the guy, it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, in my opinion, Blankenship is a really good fill-in. You know, CJ has to miss a week or two. He fills in. The other starting safety has to miss a week or two. He fills in. He can see 4 or 5 starts a year. You know, give the starting corners rest or safeties rest. To me, that's what Blankenship is.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we'll see. Like, what if Bradbury has anything left in the tank? Why take that cut? What if someone gets hurt? What if one of your starters get hurt? You want to throw? You have to rely on Bradbury. He's a decent quarterback with a better safety over the top.
Yeah, definitely. So there could be a couple of the surprise cuts. How about on offense? Any possible surprise cuts on offense?
Not really. What do you think?
Tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, well, if you look at the battles, I mean, the only, the position, the position battles would be what? It would be the third. Well, interesting one is the slot receiver. Like you got Paris Campbell?
Yeah, Paris Campbell.
Paris Campbell.
Johnny Wilson.
Johnny Wilson.
Hang on one second. I got a comment here. Spirit of Detroit podcast says that's why you guys drafted the guy from Iowa to replace Blankenship.
Not if he can play. Not if he's a top corner.
Well, don't you think that maybe they may make him like a
Going to be a hybrid, dude.
He could. I could see him having like a when I look at Cooper DeJean, I kind of see maybe like a honey badger type role.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Like
no, man. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. He can cover guys on the outside. If him and the other dude you drafted, Mitchell, are your future, I'm thinking you want him to see snaps at corner.
Yeah, we got a comment here. John Ross versus Paris Campbell, and then I got another.
Paris Campbell's winning that all day.
Spirit of Detroit podcast says that guy ain't no damn corner, bro.
I disagree.
Watch the tape.
Watch the tape. He's a corner. He's an outside corner.
Well, the thing
pre-injury, he was ranked a top 15 pick. You ain't drafting no slot corner in the top 15.
Well, the thing is though, regardless, I mean, he may eventually compete for they may eventually put him outside, right? Like your future corners could be the first round pick, Mitchell and him, but for this year you have Darius Slay.
That's true. There's nothing to say that Darius Slay ain't cooked. Darius Slay's old.
Well, let's certainly hope that Darius Slay
mid-season, DeJean might be able to take over for him. If that's the way it plays out, you don't know.
DeJean is Jason Sehorn 2.0. Get it right.
Yeah, he doesn't have his Angie Harmon yet.
Yeah. They'll find something. Trust me. Go to Deck.
Bro, Sehorn's like the last white corner I remember, and that was crazy.
Yeah, me too.
I don't,
Exactly.
He's the first one and the last one that I remember.
Yeah.
So I don't remember another one. So
I mean, unless we're going back to like Tom Brookshire and shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we go back to the 60s. We're like, I hear you. Come on,
Samurai, dude. Yeah, I mean, come on, give the kid props.
I'm not saying that he doesn't end up being a safety. You know what I mean? But you drafted a guy. You drafted two corners in the first round. It tells me you believe them. They could both be starting outside quarterbacks in the NFL.
He's wearing a damn good number, 30.
Yeah, I mean, I do think you don't trade up for him unless you think there's a little bit more there than just a
slot guy, or like a safety's cool, but like unless you're getting like a star safety and then top 15, which DeJean never even played that position because you can't bank on that. You have to look at his potential at outside corner.
Yeah, I got a comment here. Paul Spencer says, "What's your thought? Jordan Love wants $55 million before he goes to camp."
Yeah, he wants to make sure he gets that paper before he falls off that cliff and just had that one good year,
Something to go into.
Tell me that's not like the most. Tell me that's not like the most NFL shit. Quarterbacks have like one really good year, get paid, and that, like, you know what I'm saying? They suck.
Hang on, my man's got a comment for you. Diego got to go. Joe Sullivan's the man. Sean, you okay? But Diego insane. I'll supporting you guys. Love your team. Hang on, I got one more. I was kidding about Diego. That's what's great about sports, man. Is there anything better about sports than talking shit?
I'll tell you what, though, Detroit's gonna have a good team this year.
They are. I'll tell you. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you one thing too. Diego, you messaged me about this, John, today.
Receiver.
That receiver, first off, what a great show. And I'll tell you what, I already first off, I thought all the guys came off pretty good. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is a fucking beast, bro.
Dude, him having that shit all over his hands, face, and feet.
Yeah.
He's like in extreme pain out there making plays. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown is unreal. He's such a dog.
I really like that kid, man.
You can thank his dad for that, his mentality, all that shit. I mean, it don't get no better. They don't make them.
All them receivers are monsters. Every single one of them on that show.
Oh, unfucking real, bro. Oh. I felt bad for Devontae Adams because he's like Jimmy Garoppolo and his other quarterback were so trash. And he even said it. He's like, God damn, he's like, y'all gonna get me killed out here.
Yeah.
Aiden Connell, yeah.
Got a comment. The Back It Up Binge podcast. See you in October, Sully. Go Phillies Orioles. Let's go.
Let's go.
As long as we win that, John, though, if it's 1983 rematch and Baltimore wins, and that's not a good ending for us. But hey, you know what though? I mean, we got a lot more time to get into this. I'm actually going to wrap it up in a minute because I want to catch Joey's flag football game that he's in.
Okay.
So.
All right.
But yeah, man. So obviously training camp started. So we'll be back next week. Hang on a second, dude. I just had it keyed up. I'm looking for the John here. Yeah. So we'll be back next week. But hopefully, hopefully the Phillies they got. Next Monday night will be a big show because it'll be Phillies Yankees. So we'll have a preview for that. And by then the Phillies would have played 6, be that closer to the trade deadline. And we'll see what happens with training camp. So everybody out there have a great week. We'll see you all next week. Go Phils and go Birds.
Go Phils, go Birds. Peace out, guys. Have a good night.
All right, late.
See you guys.